Hello everyone, welcome to the demo of IBM Bob with IBM Planning Analytics connected by the Planning Analytics MCP server. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you something that change how the finance teams work with IBM Planning Analytics. Here, Ram is a healthcare financial analyst at a regional hospital, ABC. Leadership has called a year-end review of general department's performance, and Ramya TM1 server running on IBM Planning Analytics has 7 cubes of data covering revenue, expenses, staffing, and P&L. CFO wants a complete picture within few minutes. The expense drivers, staffing, efficiency, revenue risk, forecast accuracy, and so on. Normally, that is a few days work in MDX and Excel. Today, using IBM Bob connected to the Planning Analytics via MCP, I'll show you how this entire analysis can be delivered through plain natural language questions. To get started, first let's see the cubes which are there. So all these cubes are retrieved from the TM1 server which Ram would be using for his analysis to prepare for his meeting with the CFO office. Next, he wants to know what are the top 5 categories in the P&L for the general department. Here, MCP server queries different tools to get the dimensions, Data Explorer using MDX, and finally gives the results. So the highest cost is the technological cost, and the next comes the insurance, and you can see that the highest expense is actually more than double of the second highest one. This is something surprising, and to understand more, Ram asked Bob to show the monthly trend of the technological costs in the general department across all of 2010 to see which months were the highest and which were the lowest. And here we can see a pattern. The first months of the quarter actually have the highest expenses which are there, whereas the lowest months are the second months of the quarter. October had a significant spike in technological costs, nearly 27k higher than the second highest month of April. It actually shows a 145% swing between the highest and the lowest month. So Bob just revealed that, which is this swing which is there, and the October peak of 199,000 versus the May 81,000 likely reflects the seasonal maintenance contracts or software renewal cycles which are there. This kind of patterns get actually buried in annual averages. Next, he wants to analyze the key drivers in the revenue HC for general department, specifically looking for the patient mix and the payer mix, which are generally a key influential factors in the revenue position, comparing the forecast, budget, and actuals to understand the accuracy of the plan. So here we can see that the general patients have slightly exceeded the budget, which shows a stable demand, which is a positive thing, whereas the special patients have actually significantly outperformed budget, showing a 60% increase. The shift towards the special patients are just higher acuity cases than planned, but in the payer analysis actually there is a miss. The forecast predicted only 59% of patients be covered by insurance, whereas the reality is around 100. The average insurance patients pay more reliably and also at the higher rates. And when it comes to average patient charges, the actuals are 714 for general and 561 for special, whereas the budget and forecast both are flat at $600 and $750 respectively. The special patient charges have decreased 25% below budget, which is a matter of concern. Also, the actuals of patient volumes is around 24% below the expected, which is significant underperformance in volume. Bob also gives the strategic implications, giving the positive factors of the higher insurance payer mix, the concern of the volume shortfall, also recommendation of what needs to be investigated and what the pricing strategy needs to be reviewed for special patients, considering that the cost for special patients is lesser than the general patients. Next, Raj Ram wants to perform a comprehensive variance analysis across three major dimensions for the general department for 2010. First, he wants to compare the forecast budget and actuals for the top expense categories and P&L. Second, comparing the physician's salaried and staff FTE levels from employee expense, which is again a major cost to the hospital. And the third one is to actually compare the average patient charges from the revenue queue, which is the major income for the hospital. So now here we can see dimension wise the best planning accuracy and the worst. So when it comes to the P&L expense, the best planning has been done for pharmaceutical costs and the worst planning has been done for the technological cost, which is around 32% below budget, which is a critical issue. When it comes to employee FTE, the best planning has been done for the operation of staff operations, whereas the worst planning has been done for the emergency staff, which is 44.4% over budget. And then when it comes to the average patient charges, it is actually poor for the special patients. In the overall planning accuracy ranking, pharmaceutical costs are the most accurate, whereas the emergency staff costing is the poorest. This details generated by Bob across 5 areas of business ranked by how well planning model predicted reality. This would take multi-analyst, multi-day variance review when done without Bob. It also gives strategic recommendations, giving the immediate actions which are there for the critical issues like emergency staffing review, special patient pricing strategy. It gives a short-term improvements as well as the long-term strategic initiatives like workforce planning, technology investment planning, and so on. It also gives performance metrics to monitor on monthly, quarterly, and annual basis and defines the success indicators for the hospital. Next, to understand how what would happen if the patient volume increases and how much it may need more FT employees and what would the cost impact be, Ram performs this what if analysis, and in the result of what if analysis, the Bob actually gives the scenario analysis how it would increase the number of patients from 121 to 139 patients per day, which means additional of 18 patients. And for the cost impact implication, it gives two options, one being conservative and other one being optimal to add 2 or 3 FTE, also giving the monthly cost per FTE and the annual impact across the whole year. It even gives a financial summary comparing both the options and when to go for which one, which can really help the leadership to make quick decisions in such scenarios when there would be a real patient volume surge due to some pandemic or seasonal health issues. Now we have gathered so much data, and ultimately Ram has to create a report to present to his leadership. So we asked Bob to create a comprehensive report. So Ram asked Bob to create a comprehensive report for the general department, including patient volumes with budget versus actuals comparison, top 5 P&L expenses in forecast, physician FTE levels and peer mix variance, and also to highlight any notable findings and cover all the important observations and useful insights of the previous prompts also. So in this way, one natural language sentence is pulling data from different TM1 cubes, correlating them and identifying the critical findings. Bob did not just format the numbers, it connected the volume shortfall to the staffing surplus and named the combined impact. This is a AI generated insight and not just a AI generated formatting. Here we can see an executive summary, the key highlights which are there, like the patient volume shortfall or the technological costs which are around 32% under budget, and the patient volume analysis, the patient month volume trend, and also the key findings which has critical issues and its implications, the top 5 P&L expense categories, the technological cost deep dive, critical findings, the expense planning accuracy summary, what needs improvement and what needs to be taken care of, the physician FT level analysis, and everything else which would help the leadership to actually do a yearly review of the general department and take the right decision. This is what IBM Bob with Planning Analytics MCP integration delivers, the analytical capability of a senior finance analyst available to every user who can ask the question.